Michelle, we are at the final game of the college football season, and I know we placed a spicy chip wager on last week's pick. I went 0-2, so, I'm using my last lifeline, and I'm saying let's do double or nothing. Are you okay with that?
I am okay with that. I am super generous after going 2-0 in the college football playoff semifinals, so let's do it. Double or nothing.
All right, cool. And since I'm 0-2, I'm picking Georgia. I'm going with the safest thing possible because the Georgia Bulldogs are for real. So tell the people why you think TCU will win the national championship.
I'm going with the underdogs, the Horned Frogs, the Hypno-Toad all the way on this one, riding that momentum after TCU's semifinal win over Michigan in a thrilling game. Basically what TCU has to do to beat Georgia in the national championship game is very similar to what Ohio State did, and Ohio State kind of laid the blueprint for what TCU can do. The big one is to score early and often, because if you get into a hole against that Georgia defense, it's way too tough, it's way too strong to penetrate, and you're not going to be able to climb out of that hole against the Bulldogs defense. Georgia is really tough, especially on the ground, but we saw Ohio State break through and have some of those really big moments on the ground, and that's something that Max Duggan and co need to take advantage of, especially if their offense is not quite at full strength, as it may or may not be. Another key for them is no turnovers. We saw Max Duggan throw 2 interceptions versus Michigan. TCU also had a fumble. You cannot let that happen against the number 1 Bulldogs. They are the best team in the country, and you are going to have to play a perfect game to beat them. We've seen Duggan has strength in the air, he's good on the ground, and he's good in big moments, but you have to execute perfectly. And if that all works out on offense, on the defensive side of things, the defense needs to get Stetson Bennett and Georgia's offense to make some mistakes and then immediately capitalize on them. Whether that's forcing a turnover and scoring off of that, or forcing that Georgia team to settle for a field goal instead of a touchdown and then scoring a touchdown immediately in response to that. It just can't let Georgia run away with this game in any way. And the third one is a big one for me. I'm curious to see how this is going to go down. I want to see TCU's defense try and slow down that high-powered Georgia offense. It needs to keep players like Kenny McIntosh or Arian Smith or Brock Bowers from making those gigantic plays that we've seen, because if you let Georgia get a couple of those big plays, a couple quick scoring drives like in the first half or even in the first quarter, this game could be over before it starts. And it goes back to my original point of you cannot let Georgia score early. You have to be the one, TCU, to score early and often.
Look, they can play a perfect game, just like Ohio State, and still lose. The Buckeyes pretty much played a great, perfect game up until, 5% left of the game, and they missed a field goal. But throughout that game, Georgia was down, and you never really felt like they panicked. There was no pressure. Guess what? We need to score. We can go down and score. They scored twice in the past, 4 minutes of the game, got a 2-point conversion, and had a 1-point lead. So you could play a perfect game if you're TCU, and you can still find a way to win if you're Georgia. So that's my one reason. You can play a perfect game, but it's not a chance that you're going to beat them. It's not a guarantee. And number 2, TCU has not played perfectly in their past 2 games. They lost in their championship game, and then Michigan had a strong comeback in that second half, but they did find a way to win at the end. But the turnovers you can't have. You also aren't going to stop Georgia on the goal line, because they're going to do a trick play. They're either going to run it down your throat, or they're going to throw it to one of their talented wide receivers or tight end for a touchdown. And the last point is, this team not only has the championship swagger, they have a grown man that's the leader of this team. And I'm not talking about the coach. I'm talking about Stetson Bennett, the 27, 28-year-old quarterback who just doesn't show any signs of panic, whether it's his team losing or he's going down and make that last touchdown to win them the game. This is a true leader, and he has the experience of last year and everything that's happened this year to show that, hey, I'm ready for whatever. You throw it at me. I've taken a lot of things. I've had to overcome a lot of situations, and I'm going to leave here as a 2-time national champion. Yeah, I'm saying it. He's going to be a 2-time national champion, and the fact that he's going to be able to overcome everything he did to get to where he's at now, he's going to be looked at as like a Tebow in college football, because this guy's not supposed to be here, but he's here and he's taking advantage of the opportunity.
You mentioned the Big 12 championship game and TCU falling short in that. That was an absolute heartbreaker. In overtime, TCU lost. That is why I actually think TCU is going to come back and win this championship game. It's got that memory of the Big 12 championship game. It still stings. I am sure they're not going to end this incredible season, incredible run they've had without a championship, and they have one last chance to do it. So I say they redeem themselves from the conference championship game and come out with the natty.